a human. I'm big on humanity, quite big on humanity. My name Keesh is an acronym from Kingsley Ekwenyom, expect someone humane. So I think that when we start considering each other's humanity, we can start according people the respect we want them to accord us and treating people the way we would like to be treated. What this means is that when we think about humanity, we'll be able to tolerate each other more, we'll be able to live with each other more.
Hey guys, man, welcome to another episode. See, I'm in between. My emotions are not all over the place, but my emotions are trying to be contained. See the way he's looking at me, the person is looking at me, but I'm not saying it really. But I have a wonderful guest. I really got in touch with him last year, 2 years ago. Anyways, I'm not going to be the one. It's not last year. I'm not going to be the one to have all the introduction. I would like you to meet. Like there's somebody that we know that used to say, "Oh yeah, introduce yourself." Introduce yourself.
Me? Hi guys, my name is Keesh, Rowland. I'm a performance poet. I write CVs also, actually. Good to be here.
Wait, I don't understand. I did not know that poetry had performance in it. I thought it was just them Oswald Wilde and them
Shakespeare.
And them Shakespeare.
And them Shakespeare. Guys, actually, don't mind me. That was on a lighter note. Yeah, poetry does have performance. If you get to the point where you have to add elements of your body, elements of your voice to make your poetry received better by an audience, especially when you're on the stage, it's called performance.
So, I don't learn something to do. That's nice. So there's performance poetry. To be honest, I just thought poetry is like used to do in secondary school, write to women.
I used to write love letters. I can see you look like someone I used to write love letters to you. Okay, people that were your seniors. Not even you don't even look like someone I used to write to your classmates.
I plead the fifth. That's not what we're talking about today. How long have you been doing poetry?
So I've been doing poetry for quite a while. I think poetry is part of my life all my life, but I have been doing poetry professionally for 3 years.
So that's like 2021?
Yes, 2021. Because I think it was, the reason why I'm saying 3 years is because for every other year behind 2021, it was still a question to me.
Okay.
So I was doing it, but I wasn't pursuing it as a passion. It was just there. It was just something I know I can do. Until 2021, that's why I decided that, okay, I want to pursue this.
All right. That makes sense. Before 2021, you were just playing with it.
Per se?
Just,
double in, double out. I can do poetry. They're having poetry slam somewhere. Let me dance.
So don't say 3 years ago, because if you say you used to do poetry slam is for the big boys. I'm not going to.
Was I doing well in the poetry slam?
But you were at poetry slams.
Just one poetry slam, if I'm being honest.
But you did write before the poetry slams.
Did I write? They were just poems I posted on Facebook.
Oh,
can you take a Facebook poet seriously?
Excuse me?
No.
How dare you? That is jab at me.
Can you take somebody who writes poetry on Facebook just to be posting every time seriously? Yes, you can actually. Do not mind me. On Facebook poems.
Like people who say Tongpa.
It's my laptop. I mean, that was quite funny.
Okay, so let's do a little background to who Keesh Rowland is. Who really is Keesh Rowland aside the performance poet that you are? Because I know that there are a lot of onions,
Onions.
Unfolding.
Onions, cool, garlic me. Anywho, I have ginger, so it can work.
Nice one.
Well, I like to say that I'm just a human. I'm big on humanity, quite big on humanity. My name Keesh is an acronym from Kingsley Ekwenyom, expect someone humane. So I think that when we start considering each other's humanity, we can start according people the respect we want them to accord us and treating people the way we would like to be treated. What this means is that when we think about humanity, we'll be able to tolerate each other more, we'll be able to live with each other more. Most of the wars fought today is because the people who are at the helm of the actual conflicts do not care about each other's humanity.
No, they don't.
Because if they do, they would understand that a lot of lives are being lost in the world with all of these wars. So when I think about these wars, when I think about starving children, when I think about all of the things that limit the world from progressing, I feel helpless. And in a bid to help myself, that's why I decided that, okay, I'll try as much as I can to preach the message of humanity. And it's why it's a huge part of my life and a huge part of my name. And I like to say I look forward to a time when it will become that one thing people can identify with.
Okay. Okay. I to be honest, I don't know that you have you
want to say
you have small friends.
It's not fun getting on camera with your friends. Avoid it because see finish is everywhere.
It's not see finish. So this is the first time I've actually heard you say that Keesh is an acronym. Like I'm used to calling you Kingsley Ekpayom or your other name. That's can we say it on camera?
Our other name.
I didn't know that it means Kingsley what? Ekpayom expect someone humane. Okay, what made you want to be someone like I know we have humanity problems. A lot of people aren't being humane. A lot of people are not being kind. They don't have empathy. So, what really gingered or what really motivated? What brought the name? It just didn't happen, really.
Yeah, it did not just happen, but it did. It just happened because I think I was created the way I was created. I was created in a way that I experience the full extent of whatever I'm a part of. What that means is if I see news about a war or I watch just a movie about a war, I feel the full extent and the full pain of whatever it is that is going on. And most times when I feel these things, I just keep them in. I try not to overthink them. But growing up as a teenager, I think I became more aware that as a person that I'm always fully immersed into whatever situation I'm in. And that's when I started questioning certain things.
Yeah.
Then I began to improve in my critical thinking.
Okay.
When my critical thinking improved, that's when I started asking myself fundamental questions about life. And I think it's in a bid to answer those questions that I now adopted and look, most of these things won't be happening if you actually consider humanity. And I think when I realized that humanity could be the solution, that's when I was like, okay, so in that case, this is my reason. This is the reason why I was created in a way that I can be very immersed in whatever situation I'm in. This is the reason why if I'm reading about the war in Ukraine, I can feel the pain of a mother losing her child. This is the reason why if I see what Israel is doing to Palestine, I can feel the extent of the pain that those people are going through. This is why when I see women and children having to go through a lot in the northeastern part of Nigeria, I feel that pain simply because I am created in a way that I am fully immersed. My mind is fully immersed in whatever it is that I get to read, get to watch, get to experience as a person.
That makes a lot of sense because as I said earlier, a lot of people do not have empathy. A lot of people are not kind. According to the society, we are not supposed to be vulnerable. By we, I mean the male gender. We're not supposed to. We're not supposed to be vulnerable. We're not supposed to show emotions. But that's wrong. And then having to hear this from you, and then having that, that's quite it. With all of this background story that you've told, so this is what informs your work, your writings, your poems.
So here's the thing, if I'm being honest. Part of the blessing and curse of being fully immersed in whatever you experience is that you cannot see that what forms the crux of most of my works is humanity. Whatever it is I am immersed in and then my muse wants to write about it, can write about it. However, I have that potential because I am the artist in myself, the god of my work. I have that potential to force my muse to write poems that further the message of humanity. However, I do not have that right to lock up my muse from writing about other things. So yes, I have works that speak to humanity, and it is this idea that forms the crux of those messages. However, my muse can still decide to write about other things. My muse can decide to write about love. My muse can decide to write about a memory from just a travel. My muse can decide that he wants us to write about something that happened 8 years ago to the family that was my neighbor. It could be anything, literally. Again, like I said, it is because I'm always fully immersed in the experience. A good example is, as much as I write about humanity here, there are times when the human experience I'm trying to capture is not even something in the present. It's something in the past. However, because of the immersive experience, my memory is able to dig up all of the things I felt during that period. There's this poem I have about that time when Al Jazeera published an article about the amount of waste around.
Right.
I wrote that poem last year.
Al Jazeera took that story.
Yes, they took a story like that. It was written by Kingsley Charles. There's this unical student, unical graduate rather, called Kingsley Charles. He wrote an article and Al Jazeera published it about like the waste situation in the States as at the time. So I experienced all of that, and during that period, a lot of people were creating content around like the wastes.
Yeah, all those climate change.
And as at that time, I wanted personally, as a person, Keesh Rowland wanted to write about it. You understand that? But my muse, being that it is the God of itself sometimes also, as much as I am a God of my art, my muse is the God of itself. So I could not force myself to write. I didn't get anything. I couldn't write during that period. And then just last year, I wrote about it. And even in the poem, I captured the fact that I tried writing then and could not write about it. But then finally, after it has passed, I'm not writing about it in the past. So it happens like that sometimes. I can write about everything and anything. But yeah, there are instances where, because of how important this message is, I tell my muse, look, bro, we have to write this. You need to make it work. So you're talking about my muse like it's a different person, but it happens.
Because I was going to ask, because you're talking about your muse as a third person. What is your muse? Who is your muse? What is that? Because my muse, I'm talking.
Wonderful question. So, if I'm being honest here, most of my works, most of my poems are not written by me. I feel like
when you say by you, by who? By
Kingsley Ekpenyong. They're not written by Kingsley Ekpenyong. Written by Keesh.
Right.
So Keesh Rowland is like an alter ego of his own. Yeah.
I get you now.
Per se. So he has a personality of his own. When he wants to come up, he can come up as whoever and however he wants. One of the ways he can come up is as a writer. He can come up as a different kind of creative, someone who loves aesthetics. He can come up as public speaker, but in sincerity, in terms of the name Keesh Rowland as a brand, as a person, it can come up in any way. But when it comes to the writing, it separates from Kingsley Ekpenyong. I try to remind myself that I am Kingsley Ekpenyong to myself.
You see why I call you Kingsley Ekpenyong?
Keesh Rowland. But the reason why I do not allow you to call me Kingsley Ekpenyong is because I need the in public, of course. It's because I need the world to stay consistent with Keesh Rowland, because it is a more important message than Kingsley Ekpenyong. Kingsley Ekpenyong is just a small boy from Asahanian or Barton that grew up in the creeks of Calabar South, Oshun State. You understand?
Boy.
Well, that's who Kingsley Ekpenyong is. But Keesh Rowland is the person I want the world to meet. Someone who has experienced Nigeria, someone who has experienced a lot from reading and seeing things happening in the world, and someone who wants to share the message of humanity.
That makes a lot of sense, because I needed to know, because your muse was becoming like a third person, like a fully-fledged human being.
He's not a human being, but he's a third person.
Okay, that's great. You had an event.
Yeah.
What was in your head?
The part of Keesh Rowland that a lot of people know is that I love to have fun. I love to have a beautiful time. And as a poet, I realized that there was a need for us to actually celebrate ourselves and celebrate the arts we are into. By this, I mean that a lot of poetry events I used to attend used to be too serious per se.
Right.
We are always trying to perform, always trying to cause change.
Yeah.
Let us try to make the world a better place, always performing. And we rarely have time to party. Save for a couple of festivals, I usually take out that time to say, oh, this particular event is just a party. So I decided that for World Poetry Day, I need to call my friends that are poets, because most of my friends somehow, because I am now part of this industry, most of my friends are part of the community too. I'm like, let's gather around and just celebrate ourselves and celebrate poetry.
Yeah.
So that informed Pushing P. It was basically just an event to celebrate the art. Of course, we know that the P stands for poetry, photography, paintings, palm wine, and peppered meat.
I'm very not naive, but I did not know that. I only thought it was just poetry
Well,
and palm wine, because I know you like palm wine.
Can you imagine this boy? I said, do not get on camera with your friends.
But you do like palm wine,
I
bro.
like palm wine. I think it was poetry. So just poetry and palm
Palm
wine.
wine.
That is what he has reduced me to, poetry and palm wine.
It's a good combination, is it not?
It is.
Just imagine you're on stage and then you're spitting your bars, but you have a
cup of palm wine, batting. Not bad.
It's not. Yeah, it's.
People who attended Pushing P, I know you can attest to the fact that the palm wine was great. Yeah,
It was. I missed pushing because I wasn't in town, and
he missed.
speaking of pushing, are you going to have? Because it can't be just a one-off. It should not be only on one poetry day. No, sir, I refuse it.
Something is coming. Something is in the bag. Wait for the announcement. Something is coming.
Yes, you heard it first. Nobody they give you exclusive pass this one. I did try to give you an exclusive. So that's great. It's great to have a candid conversation about you and then have to get into. I know I haven't really gotten into your head, but get into your head, or I'm not just pick your brain and have unpick it now.
It's like he's scribbling something. I don't know. Do you get it?
They got to because of brain, there are a lot of things in your head. So I'm picking some of the things that are relevant for this conversation right now. It was great to have this conversation with you.
It was amazing.
And
Crack me up every time, you know that.
you not talks like the clown now. No one.
The clown fit, let the clown wear it.
Okay, I'm going to ignore that bar. He just, it's a punchline. He punched very well, but it's fine. It's very much.
Someone that has been calling me out since we started.
I called you out. Call me out upon the waters. Anyway, to wrap up, I would like you to do two things, if that's okay by you.
Okay.
It's unscripted. Nothing is scripted, by the way.
Yeah.
First off, I want you to spit 16 bars of anything that you've written, or less, because the 16 bars is you telling yourself as well. And then, secondly,
I'm not a rapper number one. So
when I say 16 bars, not 16 bars. 16.
I will do anything I like. It can be more than 16 or less than 16.
Okay, just something from your creativeness.
Okay.
It's weird people are calling
So
you.
unscripted, look at it. People are calling me.
It's weird people are calling you. And the second thing I wanted us to say was, say your market. Just tell people what you do.
Hi guys, my name is Keesh, Rowland.
See now come out for my set.
I am a performance poet, a spoken word artist, if you may. I also write CVs professionally. I don't know why I'm using a lot of mannerisms, but if I'm being honest, I just want you to know that I am an amazing poet and I can write poetry for your brands. I can write poems for your events also.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also commission me to do a production for you if you want.
Even for that, you'll be able to study write poetry for.
Oh yeah, I do ghostwriting too for so that she can fall for you.
Yeah, that's because
I'm going to do something. He said I should do 16 bars. I don't know.
when I said there's something from what you've written.
That's the problem.
What you published.
What you've written, what you published. I cannot remember anything. My head is empty right now.
Your head is not empty. Jesus.
The good thing about Unscripted is that you get to see all of this. Things you ordinarily see behind the scenes. Because trust me, if it wasn't unscripted, all of this would be cut. But anywho, so this is for anyone who is going through a difficult time, who has issues with their mental health, who has considered an exit through one means or the other out of life. So people who are going through maybe heartbreak, anyone going through any form of mental health issue.
Okay.
I hope this touches you. A house set on a hill cannot be hidden. A garden infested with doubts can never be hidden. Your mind, the garden, not Eden. This isn't to say that your body is a house. You think you're a black sock covered in dust in a dark room filled with cobwebs, at the end of the house, at the end of the road that leads to anxiety, depression, and addiction. Like clothes, you need the ropes to hang yourself. With no strings attached, I offer a line. Hang in there. You aren't the sock, you do not suck. Dust of PTSD, insects like OCD, cobwebs like ADHD, and you still find the time to shine. The light. If you turn on the light in a room of blind people, the only thing that shines is the sound of the switch. Don't go searching for meaning in nothingness. When I say you are the light, what I mean to say is you're probably the reason why Thomas Edison didn't stop. When I say you are the light, what I mean is get lit and stay lit. When I say you are the light, shine, shine, bobo, what I mean to say is you're a star.
See, bruv. See,
What are you saying?
what are you saying? What are you not saying? Thank you. That was really heartfelt, and thank you for coming on today's episode.
Thank you for having me.
I had a great time.
I had a great time, but you know what you did?
What did I did?
You didn't do it.
Well, until next time, it was lovely to have you.
Thanks for having me, bro.
All right, man. Cheers.
Yeah.
Guys, see you later.
You guys.
Don't come up for my set. Very, very local person.